Hello guys, I am starting this over and recording this in Canvas Studio. Apologies for there not being any sound. Alright, so let's start this all the way over. You're going to need two things open. You're going to need to open up your Rainfall Bird Beaks Gizmo. You can find this in your modules. You can also find this in the announcements where the to-do list is. And then you also need to make sure that you have your Clever open. Clever is going to have all of your apps here, and you're going to have to open up Gizmos. Remember that you're going to do the actual lab in Gizmos, and you're going to put your answers here in this sheet. Okay? All right. The lab that you're looking for is called the Rainfall and Bird Beaks Lab. You're going to click this. You're going to see a big old bird with a big old beak on the cover of this particular lab. The purpose of this lab is to study the thickness of the bird's beaks over a 5-year period. You'll control the yearly rainfall on an isolated island, and as the environmental conditions change, the species must adapt to avoid extinction. So basically, you are going to be playing Charles Darwin, and you are on the Galapagos Island studying finches. So this ties in our lesson on evolution, and it also ties in our lesson in biodiversity. Let's go ahead and launch the gizmo. Takes a minute to launch. Now that you have this launched, you want to make sure that you read all of the information in your lab so you can know what you're doing and why you are doing it. Let's start off with number 1. The beak depth of a finch is the distance from the top of the beak to the bottom. What is the current average beak depth in the gizmo? How do you find this information? You can look at the bird itself. It's about 10 millimeters. Or you can look at the description right here, and it will tell you the average beak depth. It's the same. So your answer is going to be approximately 10 millimeters. That's number 1. Number 2, it's going to tell you to select the histogram tab, and it's going to ask you what is the approximate range of beak depths. You're going to click histogram right here. If you can't see it, there you go. Looks like this. And our beak depth is anywhere from 7 to 13 for this particular population. I'm going to hit escape, make this smaller. So around 6 to 13 is fine. Some of you, it may say 7, some it may say 6, or some it may say 5. But approximately 6 to 13 millimeters is the range of beak depths. So these are the ranges of how big these beaks will be, their depths. Number 3, it says click play and let the simulation play for 5 years with average rainfall of 10 inches per year. Select the graph tab and view finches versus time and beak depth versus time. You're going to use both of these numbers to answer how did the finch population change. There's quite a few steps you got to do. First, it says to click play and to let this play out for 5 years. So we're going to click play. We're going to let this play out for 5 years. Year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5. And our average rainfall is right there in the middle, 10 inches of rainfall a year. All right, and now it's done. You're going to go to graph, and yes, you will have to read this graph. Okay, the first thing you're going to do is look at the finches versus time, like how many finches, like what happened to their population over time. And then you're going to look at their beak depth over time. And you're going to look at both of these numbers here. So let's look at their numbers. It looks like their numbers start off at 1,000, and then somewhere it goes up to like 15, close to 1,500, maybe like 14, 1,300, and then it goes down. It dips down to like 800 or 900 finches a year. That's their population numbers. So I would go along with A. The finch populations fluctuate between 800 to 1260 over the 5 years. So now what about the beak depth? Well, it looks like the beak depth doesn't change much. It kind of changes if you go to beak depth here. It kind of stays right here at 10. Like, it's kind of monotone. It kind of stays right here at 10 millimeters. So it doesn't move much. So for your answer, you can put that no, it remains around 10 millimeters. It doesn't change very drastically. It just seems to kind of stay around 10. Moving to number 5, there are going to be some steps that you have to take. Make sure that you read the intro about the Galapagos Islands so that you can know what the average rainfall is, what type of environment are these birds encountering that could impact their numbers, okay? Because this may impact their food and also their survivability. So you want to make sure that you read this because you're going to have to answer some essay questions. So the question is, how is the finch population affected by a period of average rainfall? So you're going to click reset. You're going to make sure that your rain sliders are set to 10 inches. You're going to click play, and you're going to pause after 1 whole year. These are a lot of steps, so let's do it together. We're going to reset this. We're going to make sure that our rainfall is on 10. And then we're going to click play, and we're just going to let it play for just 1 whole year, just 1 year. And then we're going to hit pause. Maybe I can play a little bit more. I can pause. All right. Now it says, select the table tab and look at the month and finches columns. I'm going to click the table tab. We're going to look at the month and the number of finches. So we're going to look at their population and what happened to their population over the year. If you go over the year like I did, you can always reset and do it again until you get it right. So I'm going to make this bigger so we can see it. It's kind of, wait a minute. No, okay. I guess that's as big as it's going to get. All right. Your month 1 is January, month 2 is February, and so on and so forth. It looks like their population goes up around Marchish. It keeps going up all the way up until May. And then for some reason, after May, their population starts to go down. So what happened to the finch population over a course of 1 year? So it looked like the finch population, it rises during the first 4 months, like we just observed, and then it just kind of steadily declines for the rest of the year. Now you're observing this happening, and this is during average rainfall. So now you're going to see, for the next few questions, why is this happening? Is it because the rainfall is affecting their food, and maybe that is probably affecting their survivability? We don't know. That's what you're going to investigate. So you're going to do the rest of these on your own. If you have questions in class, then you're more than welcome to ask them. We're going to do this together on March 21st. You can work with your classmates. You can do it on your own and ask me questions. You can work on your own. You can do it alongside this video. The lab is pretty straightforward. So as long as you read the graph. If you need help reading the graph, I'll be in class tomorrow. You can ask me during class. If you get to a point and you're stuck and you need help reading the graph, you're more than welcome to ask me while we're in class. But other than that, those are the first 5 questions of the Rainfall and Bird Beaks lab. And again, this is Miss Brown. You may go forth and do science.